to the Loading Up Podcast. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Loading Up Podcast. I am your host, Producer J, along with one of my co-hosts, Brother Zay.
Yo,
What's up, man?
what's going on?
Before we get into all the stuff that we got going on this week, just want to remind you, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely help us out and reach more viewers. If you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you can rate us and share us, do all that nice stuff. And if you look in the description, you'll see our sponsors, W Energy and NordVPN. You can save some money off of subscriptions and products, and trust me, you're gonna want to, especially now, because this is I don't know about the other side of the country, but like in New York, it's a scorcher out there, so you're gonna need that electrolytes. um, yeah. So if you do that, help them save some stuff, and they help us out. So do that. That out of the way, Brother Zay, what have you been playing?
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm playing Dead as Disco has released, and you get to see me struggle because the beginning was a struggle.
Yeah.
They get to they they sort of like let you pick whatever story you want to start with first, and of course I picked the hardest story to start with. And I'm just like, yeah, I've played this game before, no problem, and then I'm just failing and failing.
That
But
happens.
but the game is really fun. I wish they had more story because I feel like I'm almost done with it, and it's like, oh man, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But it is fun. I started out like really hard on one of the hard difficulties. So I was like, all right, I gotta pull it back, get used to the game, get in there, and then start playing the other stories. But I really liked playing it. It's hella fun. If you don't get to hear the music in the game, obviously, because you listen to us speak, but the music in the game is really cool too. Um,
Aren't you able to like upload custom songs? Or am I thinking
uh,
of a different game?
I think you're doing a different game. Now that they have like a streamer mode, so that's like streamer friendly music, so that nobody gets like banned or anything, because they have like actual songs there. You
Ah,
know,
okay, yeah.
So, but the music is really fun. The gameplay mechanics and the boss fights are cool. You're trying to like it feels like you're trying to get the band back together by fighting them.
Yeah.
Um, Either way, it's really dope. And I'm having a lot of fun playing that. I'm also been playing Persona 5 Royale, and it has been a blast. I'm
Getting
getting
ready
deeper
for
into the
Persona
game.
6.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm deep in the game and I'm trying to, continue further. So the game starts in like May. Yeah, your game starts in May and I'm in August already. Got a
Okay.
lot of my skills up and just trying to go through these palaces one by one. I'm having a blast playing the game, really. And so it's really the only thing I've been playing is Persona 5.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. What's you
Um,
been playing?
so I mentioned last week that I was playing Gears of War. I did beat that. I started Hive Busters. I finished that just recently. It's not that long. I mean, granted, I shouldn't have expected it to be that long. Um, and I enjoyed it. The only thing I feel like it being so short, I felt like I didn't get enough time with the characters to like care about them as much. Like they started to like hint towards it, like where they were talking about their past and stuff like that. And I started to get a feel for like their struggles and all their personal issues and stuff like that, and why their story matters. But I felt like it just wasn't enough time. Like right as they start to open up, you're at the end of the game. So it's like, um, yeah, it was just different. And but I still feel the same way as I did for like with the Gears of War gameplay. Like it's something about it that it's great. Like I don't feel like it gets repetitive. And it's been a long time since I've had a game that did that, and I like it. So,
Nice.
yeah, so I was playing that. Still playing through Divinity, making our way through. Freaking, we just did a battle, and we just finished it because it was I forget the guy's name, but he's like an undead skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
I forget, but like he has like apparitions that like help him to kill you. But then when you kill one, like more pop up, and then we didn't realize it at first, and then we realized, oh, like there's a main guy that we got to kill, and so it took us way longer than it should have, and then like we finally did it, and then the freaking game crashed, and we didn't save.
Oh no! Wow, no!
I hate when that happens.
But at the very least, you kind of beat him.
Yeah. So we because we did it yesterday, last night, and then because it was already late, so we was like, "Nah, we're going to bed." And then once we woke up today, we played some more, and then we beat him like easy, like it wasn't even
Nice.
hard at all. But yeah, we're getting into the story. We have the groove of things.
Yeah.
We know how to play. We're starting to get more spell slots and all that stuff. So we're making our
Really,
way through that.
it really starts to open up and flesh out the more you play.
Yes, it definitely does, and I feel more comfortable playing now than I did in the beginning. So,
Good.
yes. I also not restarted. I'm continuing um the Metal Gear Solid Delta because I
Okay.
never actually finished it. Like I started it and then for whatever reason I just, you know, I
Life.
life whatever came up and I just decided to move back into it, and now I'm playing that. So, and
Okay.
and in the time that I stopped playing it, it actually became a Play Anywhere title, which was surprising. Um,
Nice.
so I'm able to play it on my Xbox Ally. So like that's even a better reason to start playing it again. So, um, it actually runs pretty well. Like obviously, I have to turn down the settings a little bit just because it's Unreal Engine and that runs like shit on everything. But I've got it to run stably where I'm satisfied with the quality of it. I don't feel like I'm making that much of a sacrifice. So, um, yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Nice. Those are all great games.
Yes, and I'm gonna no
Yes.
life Metal Gear Solid all summer because I gotta get all the achievements.
Oh no.
Hopefully, it doesn't take as long as it did me before.
It shouldn't. It
It
shouldn't.
shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Yeah. I guess we'll jump right into news. We got a lot to discuss about this week, huh?
Yes,
Yes,
so
yes.
much.
Let's jump right into it then. So the first bit of news to talk about is Stop Killing Games. So the official bill, it's Assembly Bill 1920, is known as the Protect Our Games Act. It was backed by Stop Killing Games campaign. It fell short by 1 vote. The measure received 3 votes in favor and 4 against, while another 4 committee members abstained. The bill was granted reconsideration, so it could come back, but it is completely done for right now. We're just waiting to see if and when they can sort of like reapply to see if it could go for another vote.
Yeah.
But the legislation would require publishers of server dependent games to provide players with at least 60 days notice before shutting down online services, and companies would then need to either release a playable offline version, provide a patch allowing continued play, enable community hosting, or offer refunds. So the reason why it failed was because the ESA the ESA decided to just say it is comparable to piracy. They argued that the community run game and servers constitutes piracy, which I don't know about you. That's kind of crazy
Yeah.
because community run games exist now, like Minecraft community run servers, and even Microsoft supports these community run servers. So I don't know what they mean by that, but the ESA really kind of screwed this bill over and really put a dent in the Stop Killing Games movement, at least in legislation.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. This bill or movement or whatever you want to call it, like it had a long shot at being successful, and I was actually surprised at how far it did get. And I was rooting for it. I don't see why any consumer or gamer would be against this, but clearly it's the ESA pretty much, I don't want to say they run gaming, but they oversee gaming, and essentially what they say is goes, pretty much. That's what the publishers follow, and I'm assuming that the publishers are very much against this because that's just more work for them to do. You can't have that, right? So hopefully they're able to still move forward in some way, maybe regroup, renegotiate, change some language, or make some concessions or compromises, something that can get this back on the voting floor, because this is especially with what we're gonna be talking about. Like, this is more important than ever. So hopefully they can use that as kind of like a not excuse, but like a reason why this needs to be put into law. So that way it could prevent further damage to the gaming industry as it is.
Yeah. It's they weren't just talking about how they thought like the community run servers were considered constitute for piracy. They also stated that publishers do not maintain the same trust and safety standards as official servers. My my rebuttal to that is Roblox. Those are on
Yes.
official servers, and yet child predators are everywhere. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. You can have official servers that have pedophiles running around, or you can have unofficial servers just based on the communities and just have them there, which they've had for decades. It just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. This whole ruling, it feels like this feels like big government, coming down on the community.
Yeah. It was definitely a cop out answer. It wasn't thought out. Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies and loopholes and stuff like that, like for like what you just mentioned. And also other games have done this before. I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there was a time during like the 360 PS3 era where when games were being sunsetted or like a sequel was coming out or whatever, the game switched to a server-based operation instead of using like or peer-to-peer. That's what they did. That's what I meant. Like, before they used to have dedicated servers, then they switched peer-to-peer. I forgot what game did that, but I remember when I saw that, I was like, why doesn't every game do this? Like, why not let the community kind of take over? Because you don't care about it anyway. You're abandoning it. You're setting it out to die. You're sunsetting it. It does not matter to you anymore. So why do you care what happens to it after the fact? So I don't know. I guess it's more of like a IP thing, because then if like they do something nefarious with it, it could come backlash to them. I guess I could kind of understand that, but still, I feel like there should be a way to like a middle ground that everybody can be happy and they don't have to just shut down these games without warning or without any alternative.
Yeah. I know one game that definitely did that was Rainbow Six Vegas, the first one.
Was that one? Okay, maybe
I
that's
know
one I'm thinking
I
of.
know I know that because like I recently downloaded the 360 version of Rainbow Six Vegas just to have nostalgia with my brother. We played it for like one match where we had to create our own server to get in there. So but yeah, it's definitely possible. They just gotta stop being lazy.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's just they don't want to put the work and effort into doing something like that. I think that's all it is. It's just pure laziness.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get on to some of the bigger news. We have some some industry changing news. Let's call it
Yes.
that. Right from PlayStation. Announced 2 blog posts, and then the whole internet went crazy. Let's get into it. The first of the blog posts was posted first was straight from PlayStation. Sony's physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. That's right. Directly from Sony, they will no longer release physical PlayStation games after January of 2028. It is done. The disc for PlayStations for our future, basically for the PS6, is over.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody was expecting this to come from PlayStation.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people expected, including myself, that Xbox was heading in this direction. Um, but they were doing it over the course of the last decade. So it was more of an expectation of when, as opposed to like if they were gonna do it.
Yeah.
But with PlayStation, it was always different because they prided themselves and pretty much boasted about the fact that they were still supporting physical games. And to the point where like when games would release, it would be like physical only for PlayStation and I guess Nintendo. Um but then the Xbox version would be like digital only and obviously the PC version.
Yeah.
So it's like even the publishers knew that there was still a market for physical on PlayStation, and then they still did this. So it's like it's really weird that they decided to do it this way instead of taking like Microsoft's approach, which is to gradually shift over to that and like get people used to the idea of their games being digital only going forward eventually, at least. And and it wasn't even like something that it, I don't want to say it was a complete shock because when they released the PS5 Pro, there's no physical version. It's just the digital version. You had to buy the attachment for the disk drive. That was separate. You could not buy that with the disk drive, so you had to get it separate. So it's like it should have been like that. Like it should have been like where like slowly but surely they ease the fan base into it. But no, they decided to just rip that band-aid off now, let people know that this is happening and they got to get used to it. And yeah, it was a freaking mudslide after that.
I I'm really glad the community in general was speaking out against this. And let me tell you, I'm in no way, shape, or form a full supporter of physical disc games. I buy most of my games. I think like 98% of my games are digital. But for us on the Xbox side, because that's where I buy my games, it's a little bit different because we have Xbox Play Anywhere. We have game sharing. So I buy one digital copy, I'll get two, for me and
Right.
my wife. So it's a little bit different. So I have a little bit of benefits with digital purchases. But with PlayStation, it's not like that at all. They don't
No.
have game sharing like that, the same sense that Xbox has it. They don't have Play Anywhere, So it's really tough to sit here as well and say that this is a good thing, even though I'm mostly digital myself.
Right.
I think, like, if people want to have digital games and digital movies, they can have that. But people also have the option to have a physical movie and a physical game. It's the same sort of medium, it's that entertainment factor. And with it completely going away, it really sucks for people who want to collect physical games. And that's not, I do buy collector's edition of the games. I brought, you know, the Gears edition, which is a
Mm,
physical game. I
yeah.
bought the Starfield collector's edition. So like it's like, I don't want to buy these big collector's editions and then boom, it's just a code in there for your game.
Right.
It
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like I can't even no, I lied. I do remember the last game I bought. Is I it was what was it? Midnight Suns. That was it. And it was
Ah, okay.
because
Oh yeah,
it
that's
was
right. I remember when you brought it.
it was the Ultimate Edition, which had all the DLC. It went like if you look on the store now, it's like $100. But I saw it at GameStop for like 15, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that.
Yeah, that's
And
a
that
great buy.
yeah, definitely. You can't pass up a deal like that. But so yeah, that was the last one. I bought that like maybe like 2 years ago. Um, but yeah, I'm with you in the same sense that like I'm fully digital. I have been for the most part for like a decade since like 2016. Um, and I fully understand like what I'm giving up, but at least on the Xbox side, there are benefits. Like you said, play anywhere and cloud saves, which PlayStation, you have to pay for that. It's free on Xbox, so I could take everything with like where I go and um the game sharing stuff and obviously Game Pass, but that's like separate. But um yeah, I've been digital only for a decade, and it's just not the same because PlayStation. Let's be real. When the PS4 was announced, they literally won the majority of their goodwill from that one skit that they did where they were saying this is how you share your games on PlayStation 4, and is like handing over the disc to a friend. That was it. Because of the whole Xbox One debacle with the DRM and the 24-hour check-in and all that stuff. It was very convoluted. And rightfully so. It got the shit on because it was convoluted and there was no getting away from that. I just don't think they thought it through that much. But then PlayStation came back literally like what was it, like the next day or something like that, or a few days after, and basically was championing the fact that they were fully supporting physical and they weren't backing away from it. Come to find out, like just a little over a decade later, they're the ones who are killing physical media.
They
And
are
it's like,
they are the Xbox One.
yeah, essentially.
I mean, they have the
Um,
DRM check. They, killing physical games.
yeah,
They are the Xbox One of
yeah,
2026.
yeah. And I don't know why this I don't know why it has to be like a mandate that no game will be physical after 2028. Like if you look at the Xbox approach, they slowly started making games like only available digitally, and then maybe some like with what's that not the service, but like they make physical games for like indie games and stuff like that. People like if you want it, you can request it and then maybe they'll make it. I forget what they're called. Um
Oh man, it could be me.
Yeah, no, it's like a company that they do it. They partner with studios to make physical versions of like popular games that don't have it. I'm blanking on the name, but anyway, um, they could do something like that where like make it an option instead of like just mandating that it has to be digital only. Make it an option. Let publishers choose if they want to uh manufacture discs. And then eventually, slowly but surely, you're gonna end up at the same place. It's just that now it's more of a easier to swallow pill for the consumer as opposed to just saying, nope, January 2028, that's the cutoff. No physical after that. That's harder to take for people. Um and rightfully so. And honestly, I'm more surprised that there is as much I have not seen this much backlash for PlayStation news in a a really, really long time. I cannot remember the last time that PlayStation got this much backlash from their own fan base too. Because you know a lot of them on Twitter and stuff like that, they'll make excuses. And granted, there are some that are still making excuses.
Yes.
But for the most part, the people that I would have expected to make excuses are not. They're actually holding PlayStation's feet to the fire, which good, but a little too late. Like at this rate, like the reason why they were doing this stuff now is because you let them get away with so much over this generation. Like there's a
Yeah.
reason why they thought they could just slide this through and people would forget it in the day because literally every time there's negative PlayStation news, it gets all the attention for like maybe a day. I want to say maybe 12 hours at the max. And then it's always on to the next thing. It's always on to the Xbox news, which
What is
I
happening?
yes, the freaking news sites, they tried their damnedest to turn this into an Xbox thing. Like literally within hours of the news breaking, there was an article saying, "Oh, well, Xbox is the Xbox Helix is gonna be digital too." It's like nobody's talking about Xbox right now. We're talking about PlayStation. Why is it so hard to talk about PlayStation when it's warranted? I don't
It's because they
understand.
get paid by these big corporations to be nice to them. They pay. Hey, listen, you be nice to us. Here's a paycheck.
I
You
I
know,
don't I don't
that's what it is.
I don't know if there's a clearer example of the Xbox tax than what happened a few days ago when this
Yeah.
got announced. Like I don't know. If you don't see it by now, it's that you're lost. Like you're there's no hope for you even becoming aware of this stuff because that was the most blatant thing that I've seen. And it didn't work. They tried. It didn't work. Thankfully, it didn't work. And granted, I know Xbox is gonna get the heat next week or this week, whenever you're listening to this, when the layoffs news actually happens, which has been a bunch
Actually,
potentially. We don't even know what's gonna happen. Everything is all speculation, so that's why we're not even gonna talk about it. But yeah, it's just like let PlayStation feel the heat. Let them know that the decision that they made was a stupid one and that it wasn't thought out properly and stop trying to deflect, stop trying to make it about, oh, but the industry is like, no, this is just PlayStation that did this. They can get the heat. I don't understand like whenever there's negative PlayStation news, it's all the industry is taking a big hit. The gaming is suffering right now. Like, no, it's PlayStation. PlayStation did this. Blame PlayStation. It's not an industry thing. It's PlayStation. Okay? Like I cannot stand when people try to deflect whenever there's negative Xbox news. Oh, this is gonna hurt Xbox. This is terrible for Xbox gamers. This, and that. But when PlayStation done, oh, this is bad for the industry. Like, no, it's bad for PlayStation. It's bad for PlayStation gamers. So like let's put the focus on that. They are the ones who are the bad guy. And we need to focus on what they did, not what everybody else is doing, what PlayStation did. So, it's frustrating. But yeah, I this is gonna have ramifications throughout the entire industry regardless. And I understand why people are like trying to think big picture with this. But if you seriously want this to be, I don't think it's gonna be reversed. I think there are ways to adjust their policy or whatever you want to call this decision to make it a little bit easier to swallow or a little bit easier to um understand and I guess accept. But that's on PlayStation to figure out. They need to figure out how to make this at least a little bit appealing. I don't know what that is, and it's gonna be a hard sell for a lot of people because, like you said, there's really no incentive to go fully digital over physical on PlayStation. Yes, obviously you get like the I don't want to call it, it's not quick resume, but whatever the equivalent is where like you can suspend your game and play it afterwards. But I guess you could do that with the disc too. It's as long as the disc is still there. Um, but yeah, it really it doesn't it's not appealing for the PlayStation game. And I know that there's data out there apparently that says what was it like 77% of sales are digital only. And I know there's some like
no, but they say that those figures were
oh
misconstrued by Sony themselves to
there
push the narrative that it is more digital sales that happen.
that I've heard from both sides. I've heard that, but I've also heard that no, it's just counting game sale, like full game sales. So I don't know what it is. It's really gonna depend on Sony to release those numbers, which I doubt they will because it's not gonna be an easy thing for players or the consumer to uh I guess take in. If they're basically proving themselves right, like you don't wanna upset the fan base even more if by saying, "You see?" But I don't know. I think
Well,
there's a medium that they can figure out where it's not that bad, but I don't know what that is. I feel
I
like
don't.
there has to be.
Well, with the next blog post, literally like an hour later, I don't see how it could get better. And this one kind of sort of went under the rug because everybody was talking about the physical disc being taken away. the next update that they posted was that PlayStation is closing the PS3 and the PS Vita stores. Their digital stores are now gone. So tell me, how are you gonna go from, oh, we're getting rid of our disc in this year and we're going all digital, but then hey, we're closing our digital PS3 and Vita stores? It doesn't make sense to me.
You're basically telling them that whatever, I guess the PS6, that store will eventually close, and then you'll lose access to all your games.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely mind blowing how people could sit here and just be like, "Oh yeah, no, this is not a problem." No, it absolutely is a problem, and this is exactly why people call Sony a monopoly, simply because that they have full control over their store, can close it down, maybe, and take away everything that you potentially or thought you owned because you purchased it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too that people are trying to like say, "Oh, but why are people they're on PC and they're able it's all digital there. Like what's the difference?" It's like, "Well, PC has multiple stores and you're able to bypass DRM and stuff like that. They even have a service uh that doesn't have like the whole selling point is that there's no DRM. Once you buy the game digitally, you own it forever and you can do whatever you want with it. So that's the difference, is that PC is way more open than PlayStation is, and you're not locked down to
You
whatever store is available on the system. You have
yeah,
multiple stores.
you actually own the games because it's not just a licensed product where they could then pull. You actually own the game and you can do whatever you want with it. You can even put it to a disc if you want.
Yeah.
You have the ability to do that on PC. So it's completely different.
Yeah, and that's also gonna be the differentiator. Supposedly, we don't know for sure, but we can guess that uh Xbox Helix is gonna be like that too. Because they've hinted at such pretty much since they announced it, that it was gonna be have access to multiple PC stores. I don't know if they changed their mind on that. I hope they don't, given this news. Um yeah, so that's what makes this even worse, is that the PlayStation Store is locked down. There is no incentive for you to be digital on PlayStation because you're still locked to them. And also, plenty of times I've seen that games don't go on sale on digital, but they're on sale physically. Like I saw somebody posted that what was it? I think
I saw one for God of War.
it was God of War, someone for Metal Gear Solid, Claire
Yep.
Obscure, where it's still full price on the PlayStation Store, but on Amazon it's like $30 or $20, whatever.
Yep.
And that's one of the benefits, is having that discount and stuff like that. And they did say that they were going to start doing what Xbox has done and what Nintendo has done, where they offer digital vouchers for games in at retail. Um, the only problem with that is that they haven't done that before, and I still don't think those are able to be discounted. I'm not sure. I guess that's maybe like a store thing. Um, but one of the other things too is that like very rarely will you see games on sites like Loaded, which is formerly like CD Keys. Um,
Yes.
and like like digital stores like that where you can get games at a discount. You could find plenty of games on discount for Xbox and Nintendo on there because they already have that system built in, but PlayStation doesn't. So it's gonna be I guess a switch that we're gonna have to see, maybe probably next year. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but yeah, no, this is just not good.
No, it's definitely not good. And it's even worse when we get to the next article where PlayStation will remove hundreds of purchased movies and TV shows from users' libraries this September. So from September 1st, 2026, due to our content licensing agreements, you will no longer be able to access your previously purchased content from Studio Canal, and it will be removed from your video library. So it's literally what some people are getting. This is not just like some random studio. We're talking about like movies like Apocalypse Now, Evil Dead,
Like
Moonrise
Terminator
Kingdom,
was in
Evil
there
Dead
too.
2, yeah, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, this is Spinal Tap, Train to Busan. We're talking about movies and TV shows, American Gods, The Young Pope, and Trust Me. These talking about TV shows that are like modern. We're not talking about old stuff that nobody's watching. And also, we're talking about people's purchased items. They're just being completely revoked from them because of their licensing agreement. If this is the future that PlayStation is building, toss that shit in the trash.
Yeah, the timing was impeccable with this news. Like literally the day before the physical game stuff came out, this is what happened. And so it basically said that PlayStation has the ability to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And even more reason why this is such a bad thing for gamers and for consumers in general. Like I honestly like again, I know I mentioned like, oh, let's talk about PlayStation. This is what they're doing, but it's hard not to talk about PlayStation, or it's hard to talk about PlayStation without talking about how great, I don't want to say how great, but like how much of an opportunity Xbox has right now. Because they have the stuff looming in the background with the layoffs and stuff like that. So people know something bad is coming, but like if they can take this and kind of like make it something where it offers some kind of hope for gamers, then that's a big win for them. And I
So just
think
needs to come out with like a prototype Helix and be like includes a disk drive. That's
honestly,
it.
well, so all right, I'm gonna be honest. I do think that the PS6 will basically launch the same way the PS5 Pro did. It'll have the digital only version, and then there will be like a disk drive attachment that you can buy because for backwards compatibility purposes. I don't think they're gonna, I mean, granted, this is me being generous at this point. I
Being
don't
very generous.
I don't think PlayStation will make people like rebuy their games if they own it physically. I think they'll probably still support disk drives. It's just they're not gonna produce any more discs. Um, so I think yeah, you'll still be able to play your physical PS5 games and PS4 games, but you just won't be able to buy them physically. At least not from PlayStation themselves. You have to find them like secondhand or whatever.
Still terrible.
It's
And
still bad.
yeah, it's still terrible. And then this is off the backs of like people now digging into Sony's terms of services, and they're talking about how in their terms of service, if it's called 21.1, they have the ability to close your account by contacting, you can close your account by contacting them, right? And then if they also have the ability to completely close your account after 3 years. 36
Uh,
months of non-activity to completely close your account, and you can't get anything back, including your games, all purchases, everything will be completely gone, and the account closure is irreversible. You cannot reverse the account closure.
That's
So go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. People are online talking about how, like, oh, if you're not playing games for 3 years, maybe, you're not a gamer anymore. But still, you've invested time and money into this system and these games, and all of a sudden, it's just gone, you
Imagine
know?
imagine if you owned like a PS2 and you moved and life happens, you forget that you even have it, and then you go through your closet, you realize, "Oh, I forgot I had this PS2." And you see all your games and imagine they were just gone after 3 years. Just no reason, they just disappeared because you knew you had them in the box, but now they're just gone.
Yeah.
That's what kind of sense that makes.
Yeah.
You bought the games. They're your games. I know, oh, it's a license, whatever. No, they're yours. Like you bought it, you paid money for it. Unless they're giving you a refund, it should not be revocable. The same thing with the movie stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand that stuff and why it these companies keep getting away with it.
Yeah. Listen, the last few days is a saying that's been going around, and it's if buying isn't owning, then
And
stealing isn't
piracy,
piracy.
yeah, piracy and then stealing, yeah.
Yeah, so like if you don't technically own these games, then people are just going to pirate them. You're setting yourself up for even more potential failures by just having your games cracked and pirated.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I honestly, I remember when Nintendo went through this situation before. Um, and people were like basically they were saying it's ethical to pirate Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't want to say it's true, but like there's a lot of reason for it because Nintendo fights so hard against like emulation and stuff like that, which is legal. And like game backups and stuff like that, which is also legal. They they pretty much deserve it. So now PlayStation is heading into that territory where they it might be like okay, like at least moralistically okay to pirate their games. That's what PlayStation is saying.
Yeah. What's the I feel like they're not like we talked a little bit about this, how maybe they'll reverse it after the backlash. I don't think that's even possible. And I say that because Sony's already repurposing their disc factory. They have a major disc factory, and the president of that disc factory is already repurposing their manufacturers for other things, including cars and stuff like that. So they're already this has like been set in motion for a long time. They were planning this for a while. They already repurposed their factories, their disc making factories, which is their Sony headquarters is there in that same town, where the discs are being made. That division is there. So they're already repurposed everything. They're retraining employees on how to make optical micro lenses for other applications like cars, like I said. So it's like this is done. The band-aid was ripped. They're already making moves into other areas for manufacturing for things. This is it this is there's no going back for Sony. They already moved forward, despite the backlash.
Yeah, it's just so weird that they didn't even try to like make it somewhat like understandable for why they're doing it. Like we all know it's money. That's all. It's money. But like at least kind of sort of like pretend that this is somehow beneficial to gamers, or but maybe it was just that bad that they couldn't even figure that part out. That they were just like, yeah, nah, they didn't. It's not even worth trying to make it seem like it's a good thing or that there are benefits for digital or stuff like that. It's just like, you know what? Let's just make the change. We'll take the heat, and then it'll die out eventually. But clearly that's not the case. Honestly, Loki, I think they anticipated the Xbox layoffs to happen on July 1st, and they thought that their news was gonna get buried underneath that. And then when it yeah, and it didn't happen. They postponed it seemingly to this week, July 6th. And yeah, so now they had to deal with all of that for 6 days straight. And that's why they haven't been on social media. People are saying the second that PlayStation comes back and posts something about social media that they're gonna bombard their comment section or whatever.
Yeah. It's it's rightfully so. People have a right
Yes.
to be angry, after all the anti-consumer practices that Sony has done this generation alone. It's absolutely wild. And I love what you said earlier about how like Xbox has a perfect opportunity to try and give the industry and the gamers themselves some hope. And I hope that continues. I hope this week we don't hear some major negative Xbox news, because we know that will just dominate the news cycle and everybody will forget about the anti-consumer practices of Sony.
Yeah. I mean, just knowing how the news cycle works, I think that's pretty much what's gonna happen. And then they'll have a new trailer for Wolverine, or they'll announce the Venom game that they've been. I don't know. They'll do something. It always seems like that's what happens. There's negative news, then nothing for like a month, and then they'll just announce a new game or a new state of play or whatever. That's usually how it goes, and it's so annoying, and it bothers me so much that it's so easy to just make people forget. But I don't know. I feel like this might be different this time. Hopefully.
Well, let's see. Well, we know that there's So last year there was a Dutch nonprofit consumer foundation called Stitching Massachusetts and Consument. They filed a lawsuit in the Netherlands against Sony, and that this past week, June 29th, they had their first court date. They've had their first hearing and for this lawsuit, and the lawsuit claims that Sony is a monopoly. They have a digital monopoly on their store, and because you can't purchase their games anywhere. Like if you go to CD Keys or I'm sorry, Loaded. If you go to Loaded, you can't buy a code for PlayStation game that's cheaper. You can only buy like their gift cards and stuff. So they're saying that they have a monopoly on their store and that they must pay 1.7 million Dutch players for the Sony tax. And it's crazy how like that lawsuit was filed last year, and just this past week while all this negative Sony news is coming out, they have a hearing about them being a monopoly. And if anybody poses the picture to be a monopoly, would be PlayStation with their practices in their store. And just in the store particular, not like anything else and everywhere else. We're talking about just their PlayStation store. It is in fact a monopoly. Because
Yes.
on Xbox you can buy cheaper games at your local store on Loaded, on you go anywhere and buy a cheaper game. But you can't do that on PlayStation. They don't have that ability. And then with them making only digital releases going forward for the future, this will just be so much more worse. And I believe this particular lawsuit, just one lawsuit from the Netherlands, will steamroll into other areas, getting bringing about lawsuits against Sony, including California. They don't like Sony in particular and their practices. I feel like these next couple of years will come about more lawsuits just like this one.
Yeah, I think the timing is I'm telling you, like, this the timing of this stuff is just is incredible how it all comes into play, like, at the same time, and it's all related.
Yeah.
Um Yeah, no, this I remember hearing about this for a long time, and I remember getting an email about it, uh, wanting me to sign a petition about this because they say, "Oh, if you've made a purchase on the PlayStation Store, you may be entitled to some money and stuff like that." Um, because this also happened in the US. I remember that. I don't know if it got anywhere or what happened with that, but the fact that it's gonna keep happening, and honestly, there's been talk supposedly that the EU might have to step in. And if you know anything about the EU, whenever there's change that needs to be made for whatever reason, it's the EU that gets it done. So, for example, they're the reason why that the iPhone has the USB-C support. Um, and I think if there was something else too, I forget. Um, I'm blanking. There was another big one, but that's the one that I remember most. I was like, "Damn, it took the EU for Apple to stop being shitty." So it might take the EU for PlayStations to stop being shitty. Um, but yeah, no, I feel like we're gonna hear more about lawsuits regarding digital stores and stuff like that. Honestly, it could probably put PlayStation in a position where they may have to revisit putting their games on PC again to kind of like deflect and say, "Here, see, we don't limit our players. Like you can buy our games on PC." You know, something like that. But
You're
they're
you're
gonna have
too
to.
hopeful about this. I don't
I'm
like it.
I listen, I gotta be because if I'm not, then it's just everything's going to shit. Um, especially with the medium that I love and I enjoy. I don't like thinking too negatively about it. There was a point in time where like things were like really bad, and I was like, do I even want to play games no more? Like,
Oh, geez.
yeah, no, I would rather be optimistic about gaming because everybody's talking about like, oh, like gamers are getting priced out of stuff, which is true. I think the industry will correct itself. It's just gonna take a lot, and this might be the tipping point. I think.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, aside from all the AI stuff that's ballooning the prices for everything.
Yeah, well, get ready to pay more because PlayStations are thinking about raising prices on PlayStation Plus. So your digital games will be costing more money and your digital subscriptions will be costing more as well. It's
Yeah.
just it's like shitty news after shitty news just running down on Sony and and then on to the players, you know? It's like
Right.
we're literally like we don't pay enough, you know, we don't suffer enough under Sony's potential monopoly, you know, that you have to then raise the prices after you shut down digital stores, take away our movies. You know, it's just
Yeah, even what was his name? Sean Layden. He was saying that this was a mistake or that game prices they're getting too expensive, and they said he even said that pivoting away from PC releases that didn't matter. Like they didn't need to do that because the people who were buying the PC games were never gonna buy a console, which is what I was saying. Like that it doesn't make sense. You're not gaining new customers by doing that. You're just alienating the PC crowd, which was supporting you. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna come to a head. I don't know what that is. I don't know if PlayStation will even acknowledge it. I mean, it's gotten mainstream news, so that may
yeah.
be something that they pay attention to. I think it was they were talking with Gene Park on CNN,
Yep.
which is crazy. Um, I don't know. I don't know what is gonna happen going forward. They may just be quiet, see how people take the Xbox news that's potentially coming, and then if it
I
doesn't
hate
dominate
that.
the I know, I hate it too. I hate the
Hate
freaking
that.
news cycle. It's so annoying that like we just gotta move on because
Yeah.
other stuff is happening and we can't focus on one thing for more than 5 days.
It just sucked that like, oh, we're waiting. Like, there's people itching. The game journalists are sitting there itching for negative Xbox news so they can, you know, continue sucking the teeth of Sony and saying, no, leave Sony alone. It's just
Yeah,
it sucks so bad because like Xbox, I feel like Xbox gets negative news all the time, everything. And just because it's Xbox, you know what I'm saying? Like just because they're not it's not like necessarily overly bad Xbox news. You know, all the companies all around the world are doing layoffs. You know, all the companies all around the world are doing closures for studios. You know, you have studios closing. Sony has closed way more studios than Xbox has, but nobody's said barely a peep about it, even including some of their biggest studios like the Sony London. You know, so it's
right.
like, where's this all this outrage directed at Xbox or the game journalists waiting for negative Xbox news really pisses me off.
It's just the way things are. And again, I've mentioned it like this is the Xbox tax. It became it was a joke that people would run with, but now it's not even a joke anymore. It's just reality that that influencers, people on Twitter and stuff like that who are making money off of this. It's not like they're posting it just because, you know, they want to just dunk on it. Like they're doing it for engagement. That's all it is. It's an engagement play. And they're reaping the benefits. People were calling out and I don't personally have a problem with it, but when it came to like the Xbox layoffs and stuff like that, they were constantly posting every little bit of speculation, rumor, and then posting again the retractions to it. And it's just like, okay, if you're going to retract something, shouldn't you delete the original post that said the wrong information? Logic would say yes, but no, because they want that engagement and they don't care if it spreads. Because that actually happened to me. Uh, I saw a post that was talking about I forget which studio at this point. There's been freaking every studio probably it was Arcane, and it was from Mike Straw, and he posted his thing, and then somebody commented saying, "Oh, this is the wrong information." And then he commented saying, "Yeah, I updated in the article." And I was just like, "Well, then shouldn't you update this post or shouldn't you or delete this post and post a new one to show that with the correct information? Why is it in the article? You don't care if the information is right or wrong. You just want people to click the article. So it's like it's so blatant that this is all just to make money. It's all to make money, and it's people, and that's what pisses me off about this whole thing mostly is that people are profiting off of other people's misfortune, and it's like I don't want to like judge the two situations. Obviously, people losing jobs at Xbox, potentially losing jobs is a bad thing. I'm not trying to negate that, but I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't really affect me as a consumer. Maybe like the games that I would want to buy, yeah, that's pretty bad. They might get canceled, whatever. But PlayStation ending physical discs, like that affects me directly because now I'm losing an option. I don't even have the option to get PlayStation physical games after 2028. Like that's affecting me directly, and the whole store stuff where PlayStation has a monopoly. They can set their own prices. They rarely do sales. So it's like now I'm forced to pay whatever price Sony pay or tells me to pay, and I can't do anything about it except go elsewhere. So it's like it's different situations, but I'm gonna be more concerned about ones that affect me more. I it sounds wrong to say, but it's the truth. And I'm always one to I'm a consumer. I'm going to care about stuff that affects me as a consumer. And I think more people need to like have that mindset. There's nothing wrong with caring about stuff that affects you, but don't wait until it affects you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's move on. We got two more quick articles we got to get through. This one of the Steam Machine. That's right, Steam Machine is not even fully out yet, but there are a few out there in the wild, and it's already getting some bad news. They're reporting a red line of death error. So it's a solid red line along the right side by the power button, and they're saying that it is a GPU failure, and that
Ugh.
they would need to be brought in so that they can fix it, because you cannot fix it with a firmware update or a system update, which is incredibly bad. It is really bad. The game, the system, the console, the small form factor PC is not even out yet. This is just early adopters who got it, and it's already, I mean, it's only room one. We're talking about one official report, but still this early. It's way before
Yeah.
even release date, and you got one that's failing. It's bad.
I hope that this is an anomaly, that it's not a sign of like widespread system failures, because we know what happened with the red ring of death. Like it started off with just a few people and then it just escalated out of control. And I mean, I guess it depends on what the failure was. Like if it's just um like the GPU wasn't being heat or cooled enough or what, but
Who
I don't know.
knows?
Who knows?
It's this. It doesn't really say in the article anything about like why it failed. Just that it was
It
it
failed.
indicates a GPU failure, and why? Why so early? The system doesn't even come out. What
Yeah.
happened?
Well, I mean,
They did say that they were playing No Man's Sky for about 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden it failed,
no,
which is crazy.
I feel like maybe that might just be a faulty thing, a faulty unit, because I would understand if it was like over a long time, but 20 minutes and it just start, or I don't know if they were playing before.
Well, I
I don't
know No Man's Sky is a hefty game, so
True. Well, and that's also kind of it might be an issue with the Steam machine in itself. Like, yes, they allow you to like adjust settings and stuff like that, but if you're adjusting settings beyond the capabilities of the Steam machine itself, then it can lead to failures. And I don't know how you would even go about that.
I mean, Steam Machine does not run games very well. We've seen reports and game journalists talk about how like even games like Forza Horizon 6 runs at like 20 to 25 frames per second on the system, which is absolutely terrible considering the
Yeah.
game runs really well on the Series S.
Yeah, and on the Xbox Ally X or
Yeah.
S, it runs pretty smooth on there because it's well, I don't know if it's optimized for the PC, but like it's built with that in mind. So I don't understand why the Steam machine can't run it properly.
Well, because I like we talked about when I think it was like a week ago where we talked about how like the Steam machine has different parts, like it has dual channels or single channel RAM sticks. So who knows what other kind of, you know, whatever parts they put together to get this thing out, you know? But at
Maybe.
$1,049 without a controller, it should not be happening.
That's the biggest issue, I think. Like if it was, I don't want to say if it was like cheaper, it would have been okay. Like I don't think it's ever okay, but it would have been an easier pill to swallow. But being over $1,000 and not being able to run these games properly, like it's unacceptable.
Yeah, definitely unacceptable. All right, and that's the last bit of news is a little bit of the Xbox news. And we're talking about Xbox testing this to digital features that digitizes a physical game to collections, which this is something that I never would have thought about. Like it scratches I'll scratch my head just trying to think about it. Like you're gonna take a physical game and put it into a hard drive basically or an SSD and just have it. You know, it's weird, but it's sort of like really cool to think about, like especially with all the news about Sony and how they're getting rid of, you know, physical discs. Sony doesn't have something like this that they're testing out or even trying to get to. So just Xbox testing grounds on making your physical games digital and or allowing you to have physical games in general is still a great thing.
Yeah, the way I've seen it being like described and stuff like that, it's the same way it works now because like the way it works is like put a game disc in, it installs the game, and then the game is technically digital. The disc just asks, it acts as a key, a digital key, so you can play the game. Like it proves that you own it. What this program would do, and I'm sure it's not gonna be like every game, it's probably gonna be on like a publisher basis because you know these publishers they don't care about giving you extra games. Like they want you to buy it again. If you got digital or you got physical, you want the digital version, you gotta buy that shit again. But I'm sure some publishers will be on board with it. Um, so basically, it's just that, but then instead of just acting or having the disc be the key, it just turns it into the digital game itself. And then the disc, like you don't got to do anything with it. You could take it out, and then it becomes the digital version with Play Anywhere support if it has it, and all that stuff. And
which
then,
which is really cool because let's say I get a copy, a physical disc copy of any particular game, and I can convert it to digital, then I get two copies. Right?
well, so no, not necessarily. So it also works is that like once you so basically when you convert it to digital, that disc is pretty much useless unless it's put in a different Xbox and linked to another person's account. Then the
Okay.
so then once it does that, then your digital license is revoked and then you can't launch the game anymore.
I see. Even if you're technically game sharing,
Um
that's what I'm speaking about. Game sharing in particular.
no, well, at least the way it was described, it wasn't. I don't think that it's only tied to the account. Because with
Okay.
game sharing, there's the 2 licenses are for the account and for the home console. But I
Yeah.
think with this case, it's the the account and the disc. So,
Okay.
like
Okay.
yeah, so, like, once the disc is inserted and linked to another person's account, then they get the option to transfer it to digital. So
Okay.
that's what prevents people from, I guess they'll have a time limit where they could do it, where they can buy the game, transfer it to digital, sell the game, but then like whenever somebody else puts that game in the disc, I mean, I guess they could do like let's say if you sell it to GameStop, they'll just do that right away to prevent you from being able to play it indefinitely. Um,
If
I don't
GameStop's still around by then.
if GameStop's still around by then. At this rate, they might be gone as well as
I,
physical disc in 2028.
yeah,
Um,
they're definitely, you know, being themselves up about Sony's news.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they're taking this news very hardly. But yeah, as far as I know, that's how it's gonna work, or how it is supposed to work. We don't know if this is actually gonna be a thing.
Yeah, they're just testing it right now.
I would love to see this, not because like I have physical. Well, in my case, I would love the digital version of Midnight Suns, because that way I can play it on my Xbox Ally. Right now, I cannot do that because it's only physical, so I can only play. And that's one thing too. Like I buy games based on if I can get it play anywhere. Like that's my mindset now. I've completely reworked my value proposition in terms of like, do I want to play this game? Is it gonna have play anywhere support? But yeah, but Midnight Suns does, but because I have the physical version, I can't play it unless I stream it from my Xbox. But for whatever reason, I can never get that to work properly, so I can't play it, at least not on the go. But um, but yeah, so I do want this to be a thing, because then that's basically Xbox. It would be Xbox showing the support for physical games, even if they're heading towards that same direction. At least they're saying, hey, like, we know you have this physical library, and we don't want to leave you behind. And that's another thing too that PlayStation hasn't really clarified on, is that, like, while I said I assume PlayStation 6 will have a disc drive add-on, so that way you can play those physical games, there's no guarantee that they will do that. So, like, if you have a bunch of physical games and the PS6 launches without a hard drive or without a disc drive, then you're SOL. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, you just can't get the PS6 without abandoning your library. That's really shitty. So that's why I assume that it's gonna have them, but there's no guarantee that's gonna happen. At least with Xbox, with this in mind, and the fact that their backwards compatibility program is not, I don't want to say it's contingent on physical discs, but it does support physical discs, whereas PlayStation doesn't. If you want to play PS2, PS1, PS3 games, you can only play them digitally or stream them. That's it. You cannot put those discs in a PS5 and play them like that. On Xbox, you can. You can put an Xbox One or original Xbox game on, if it's supported, and you get the game. It's different. So I think Xbox is in a better position this time, or in this situation, where I think they kind of have to support that going forward. So they may offer. I don't think that the Helix will launch with the disc drive, but I do think that if Xbox was smart, they would offer an add-on, very cheap add-on. It has to be cheap, because the freaking, what is it, the PS5 Pro one or whatever, the PlayStation one, it's like $80. That's ridiculous. I'm not gonna play the price of a game just so I can play my games physically. Like, that's ridiculous. It needs to be cheap. I want to say like maybe $20 at most.
Good luck with
Because
that.
it's literally just a disc drive. You could connect it with USB, and then you get the thing. Like, there's no reason for it to be expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, good luck with that one.
I mean,
gonna need that
it's
one.
wishful thinking, I know. But I think if Xbox was smart, that they would do that. Because they have the ability to market it. Like, your entire generation of Xbox consoles coming with you. There you go. Xbox, that's the slogan. Use it.
Use it. Yeah, definitely. Definitely use it. Yeah, that's all the news. We had a lot to go through. We got through it.
Yeah.
We always do.
There's a lot of PlayStation negativity, but you usually don't get that. So,
Enjoy it.
yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have to, if the news regarding Xbox comes to fruition this week, but we'll see. We'll talk about that next week if it happens.
Yeah.
But until then, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to us on a podcasting app, you can like us or rate us and share us with all your friends and family. If you look in the description, you can see our sponsors, W Energy and NordVPN. If you support them, they'll support us, and we thank them, and we'll thank you. That's it. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.